Thank you for stopping by Ballistic BBQ. On today's video, I'm going to be cooking up sous vide barbecued brisket. Here it comes. Let's get going. I know, I can already read the comments. Greg, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I think that barbecue and sous vide play very well together, so much so that I wrote a book about it a while back. It's called Sous Vide BBQ. It's by me. I'll have a link down below. There's my sales pitch. Anyway, there are reasons that sous vide and barbecue go well together, and I'll be mentioning them throughout the video. First things first, let's get to this brisket. I have a 12, it's a little over 12.5 pounds of brisket here. This is a full packer. First thing I'm going to do is trim this. We're going to trim it pretty aggressively. We don't need all this fat, especially when we're doing sous vide. The other thing is I need to get this point separated from the flat so it'll fit in the bags I have and also fit in the water container so we can actually cook it sous vide. So let's get going here. Again, all this hard fat we're removing. And there we are. Our flat and our point. So what I'm going to do now, and I'm going to do this off camera, is just kind of take care of some of these really thin sections that are just, it's a waste to even try to cook. Take down a little bit more of the fat and the silver skin, and then we'll get to seasoning and bagging this thing, get it in the sous vide. See you guys in a bit. And here's what we ended up with. As you can see, I sliced that flat in half. The only reason I did that was so it'll fit in my vacuum bags and also fit in the container I'm using to hold the water for the immersion. Now we're going to season these. I'm going to season them very lightly. There's other theories. I do the same thing with steaks. Sometimes I don't even season the steaks for the immersion portion. I'll season it after I take it out of the bags. Personally, I found that if you're using a seasoning heavy with salt, it just becomes too salty, and I'd rather, again, control that just prior to doing whatever finishing method I'm going to use. So I'm just going to go very lightly with, this is just a beef rub. This is a Harry Sue's beef rub, if anyone wants to know. And again, I'm just going very lightly. One thing with sous vide is you definitely will get some, flavor penetration during the process. And I want to get some of those flavors inside the meat, but again, I'm going very light. And that's it. We'll go for a more traditional application after I pull them out of the bags. Let's get them bagged up. All right, let me wash my hands and we'll get over to the vacuum sealer. So I'm sure from my videos, if you guys know that I do my own freeze drying, I make my own backpacking food, and I also make my own like emergency food storage. And I wanted to be able to vacuum seal Mylar bags. So I went ahead and I upgraded to a chamber vac. It was well worth it to me. The other thing is, any of you guys own the conventional vacuum sealers know that moisture is a big problem. If you have liquids in a bag, it's a big problem. You can't like vacuum seal a bag of soup. With my chamber vac, I can. Downfall is if I am needing to vacuum seal a big chunk of meat, like a big roast or something, I have to go back to the conventional vacuum sealer. If I'm going to use my umai bags to do some dry aging, like say a big strip loin or a big prime rib roast, again, I have to go back to the old school vacuum sealers. This thing though, again, for me, for what I use it for, well worth it, well worth it. And the seals hold forever. It's not like, the less expensive brand. Anyway, let's get the sealing these up. So again, it goes in the chamber. Here's the heat bar right here. Now it's vacuuming, it's creating a vacuum inside the chamber there. It's not sucking the air out of the bag yet. This is really cool. My son digs on this part once it does. So it happens in this blink of an eye. You can see it's counting down here. Okay, hold on to your hats, folks. I love that. Check that out. All right, last one. It is jacuzzi time. So let me bring out the water immersion bath, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. And here's the setup I'm using on today's video. I love these plastic containers. I get these on Amazon. They make them in all different sizes, and you can get them with covers. I like using these little sous vide balls. I'll talk about those in a sec. This is a circulator I'm using. I have 4 different circulators. I wanted to make sure I had a variety for the book, so I went out and bought different price range circulators, and I found that all of them work very well. Some of them just have different features. This one's made by Innova, and this is their Bluetooth model. They also have one that's Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The thing I really like about the Innovas, the app's really easy, but this is a biggie for me, is it also just has a dial here that you can set the temperature, so you don't even need to go through the app. There's another circulator, I'll show in another video someday, that I love. It's like the iPhone of circulators, but you're bound to having to go through the app. So my fear is, for whatever reason, it's not connecting with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, you're not going to be able to cook. That being said, I really like that particular circulator. The sous vide balls, these are what these are called, sous vide balls. And again, Amazon. When you're doing really long cooks, or hot cooks, these things, they cover the surface of the water. A little do the same thing. It helps to keep the condensation in the container. It also helps maintain a nice steady heat and helps this heat up quicker. So let's get these things going here. Now, vacuum sealer, I talked about my vacuum sealer. You can do what they call the immersion technique, where you would take the meat, put it in like a gallon baggie with the zip top open, and just immerse it in the water, and the air comes out. And then once you get it all the way down to the surface of the water, you zip it up. But I can tell you this for a fact, a vacuum sealed bag works 10 times better than doing that. So get these things in the water. Again, these balls are awesome, but you need to be aware that when you're pulling the bag out, you don't end up with balls rolling all over your floor. All right, I'm running this at 155 degrees. As you can see, that it's 151 now. It'll come up. I just put all that cold meat in here, and we are cooking this for 24 hours. I'm sous videing this for 24 hours at 155. It'll never overcook. I could cook this for 48 hours and it wouldn't overcook. Textures would change. I think 24 hours is perfect for this cook. This is one of the cool things about sous vide. It's Monday. I'm jonesing for some brisket. I don't want to wait till the weekend to cook it, or take a day off to cook it on my pit, which, by the way, I'm not saying this is better than a wood-fired pit, but I'm giving you an example of why I like sous vide. I can set this up the night before I want to eat and get home from work, toss it on the smoker for 3 hours, and you'll see that process, and I'll have some killer brisket, and you're going to see this is going to be some killer brisket. So anyway, 24 hours, I'll see you guys tomorrow. 24 hours later, we're ready for the next step. As you can see, the briskets have reduced in size, which is what happens on a pit as well when you're cooking low and slow. There's a lot of rendering going on. So we're going to season these now. Now, normally what I would do after removing them from the bag, the meat from the bag, if I was going to sear them, I would blot them completely dry with a paper towel. I just very lightly blotted it. I want some moisture on the meat here to help with that crust. So what I'm going to be using is Cosmo Q's cow cover. Great stuff. All right, meet you guys outside. I got the Yoder all ready to go. All right, I have that Yoder YS 640 revved up. We're running at 250 degrees, and I am burning hickory. Let's go ahead and get these guys on. Not a whole lot of fat cap, but I'm putting it fat up. So we are now just simply finishing this brisket off. I want it to look like barbecued brisket, so I'm looking for great color and that bark. It should take about 3 hours. After about 1 hour, I'm going to check on it. If it looks like that surface is getting a little dry, I'm going to mist it with just a little bit of beef broth. See you guys in a bit. Okay, we are right at 3 hours now, and about an hour after I put these on the pit, I did hit them with a little bit of beef broth. They were fine after that. I didn't spritz them anymore after that. I did test them for probe tenderness, and check it out. These, look at that. These are probe tender, my friends. So what I'm going to do now is pull them off, take them in the house, let them rest a while, then we'll slice it up. I'll give you guys a taste. I'll be tasting them. See you guys inside. The brisket is rested and smells good. Smells like brisket. So let's see if I remember which way the grains went. It's funny because, you know, this is all separated into 3 parts, which is very rare. Usually it's 2 if I'm separating them. I have 3 here. Let's give this a go here. All right, so this is part of the flat. This is part of the flat. Let's get into some of this point here. All right, let's break this down. First of all, it's funny, I was talking to Justin over at Baby Back Maniacs just today about this. So quite often I'll get a very slight smoke ring when I do this, when I sous vide, then finish on a pit. This one, well, there's a little bit of a smoke ring. I don't even know if you guys can see it there. Very slight, very thin, but it has that barbecued brisket smell. I mean, look at this. Perfect pull. This is just what you would expect from a nice fatty point. I mean, this point is insane. So, I'm very happy with this cook. Very, very tender, very, very juicy. And again, a nice smoky flavor. It tastes almost as good as a brisket that I'd cook out on one of my pits for hours. It's very good. This is one of the things I like about it. It's not trying to replace a traditional barbecue. In my opinion, this is its own category. This is a sous vide cook finished on the barbecue. And I'm very pleased with it. And the thing I like about it is it's become very, very inexpensive. These sous vide circulators now, you can buy them, I mean, 1/8 of the cost that they used to be, which is great. The thing I like about sous vide is it can take somebody who is not a very good cook, or they just don't really want to learn how to be a good cook, and it can turn them into a decent cook, and it gets them outside, which is awesome. That's what we're here for, right? Let's have some beer. So today, from Mother Earth Brew Company, we are going to try out some Cali Creamin', and this is a vanilla cream ale. And it's good. I've had it before. It's, again, one of those flavored ales, but it's just hints. I mean, it's kind of essence of vanilla, I guess. So I'm going to pretend like I'm a beer expert, which I'm not, but beautiful golden color. I mean, that's gorgeous. Nice creamy head. Smells good. Let's give this a go. Wow, it's so good. Again, the thing I love about this is it's not one of those flavored beers. It's just, it takes away the beer flavor, the ale flavor. It accentuates it. It just kind of brings it out to the forefront. Just nice, light vanilla flavor, very refreshing. This is a killer beer for barbecue, by the way, because it's not too heavy. It's refreshing. You get your beer on, and and you get to have some nice, good cooked meat. Anyway, guys, thanks again for stopping by. Check out my links below. Sub if you haven't. I very rarely say that. Smash that ring bell, whatever. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.